And now a special presentation from Broadcast Row. Broadcasting live from the greatest city in the world. Wake up. It's time, people, for your morning online gathering. Hosted by Mardel. It's the Wrestling Morning Show. And it starts now.
Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wrestling Morning Show. This is your host, Mardel. Happy Wednesday to everybody. 9:05 Eastern Standard Time. It is 844-627-3352. That is the number to call or text. Once again, it's 844-627-3352. Join us on Twitter at Live Morning Show. All information you need for the show is on thewrestlingmorningshow.com. So where do we begin? How much can I really talk about Smackdown? The only thing I can talk about is really how awkward it was last night. It wasn't a very good show. We're coming off the heels of a phenomenal Raw that everyone is talking about. And of course, it's due to the fact of Cena and Roman's promo. And then we have last night. Now, granted, there is 40 days till Hell in a Cell, till the next pay-per-view. So we knew it was going to be a slow-paced, drawn-out process. But when you have an unbelievable Raw, well, everybody is watching, then everybody is talking about it, you would expect, with all eyes on SmackDown, they would return the favor and have a great show, which is common sense, it's basic knowledge. And also, if you notice some of the traffic that's online and people talking about it, you knew eyes were going to be on SmackDown. They did not deliver last night. One thing we pride ourselves on, we're not trying to be negative or trying to bury anything or all the other wrestling shows want to be so negative about everything. We try not to be. We try to have a little fun, especially in the morning. Last thing you need is being all depressed and stressed out on your way to work, waking up. Some of the people on the West Coast just getting in right now. Hello, West Coast. It's Mardel. Really an uneventful SmackDown last night. A couple key highlights that we saw. I mean, what I'll take away is obviously Randy. He's Randy. And he has an opportunity at the belt. Nothing personal, just an RKO and Shinsuke. And of course, something we already know, and it's about as obvious as it gets. We're going to have Kevin Owens and Shane O'Mac in Hell in a Cell. We're going to go back and kind of remind you guys one of the few highlights from last night. Here's Kevin Owens.
But not just that. Then he puts on the referee shirt and makes the 3 count like it's supposed to matter, like it's supposed to mean anything. You know, 1 year ago today, the greatest moment in the history of WWE happened when I was crowned Universal Champion. And now, 365 days later, I stand here, not a champion like I should be, but I stand here without my United States title because Shane McMahon screwed me out of it, not once, but twice. You know what? This would have never happened back in the good old days when I was on Raw. Well, because on Raw, you would have never seen the lovely Stephanie McMahon abuse her power as commissioner in such a disgusting manner. But this isn't Raw, is it? No, this is SmackDown Live, the land of opportunity. Give me a break. The only thing this place is Shane McMahon's personal playground and that egomaniac.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Speaking of the egomaniac.
All right, Shane O'Mac answers the call. And we knew this was going to happen, and we could tell, and we sensed this at SummerSlam without a doubt. There is a possibility this could be a long, drawn-out process. I'm curious what you think. The number is 844-627-3352. Call me, text me. It's the same number.
There he is, just in time, right on cue. Shane McMahon to take away the spotlight from the actual talent and make it all about himself.
Thank you very much for that. What's up, Little Rock? If I can, I'm going to direct this directly back at you, Kevin. It says, Kevin, I'm out here to help you. You see, it seems like you need an explanation for what happened last week. And Kevin, let me remind you, it was you who picked your own special guest referee in your United States Championship rematch against AJ Styles. And you, Kevin Owens, picked Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin then came out, was extremely biased towards you during the match, which brought me down. And then Baron Corbin left. He didn't even finish the matchup. He took off his referee shirt, threw it at me, and he was done. Therefore, a match of that magnitude needed an official. So I took it upon myself. Since I had it in my hand, I put the referee shirt on. I climbed in the ring, and I counted your shoulders to the ground. 1, 2, 3. Kevin, you lost to AJ Styles.
I didn't lose. You screwed me again. That's what happened.
Kevin, you know, you can call it whatever you want from this point forward because I don't care. This conversation is over. The millions of people watching Smackdown Live right now and those in attendance here are tired, as am I, of hearing you complain. So therefore, I ask you to please leave the ring. Aiden English, please get back in the ring because you have a matchup right now against this gentleman.
Okay, so first of all, we see Sami Zayn. That's awesome. And really, okay, so this is what they're doing. It's 40 days out, and it's a continuation of the build between Kevin Owens and Shane O'Mac. It's going to be Hell in a Cell, and we're excited for it. It's going to christen the new Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan, October 8th. Hell in a Cell usually never disappoints. I don't think with this lineup, it's going to be at the magnitude of past Hell in a Cells. Of course, it's not going to be. But now things are starting to shape up. And we're curious what direction, first of all, the WWE title goes into. We'll talk about that later in the program. We're trying to make this a fun show, considering SmackDown, we could pretty much sum that up very quick. One thing I want to get to right now, though, it's already online, and I just want to play a little bit of it because I think it's important. Charlotte Flair giving an update on Nate. Let's go ahead and listen to this real quick.
A pretty tough couple weeks for you and your family, but can you give us all an update on how you're doing and how your dad's doing?
Yeah, so it's probably the hardest 2 weeks I've had. But man, my dad's a fighter. I just want to thank everyone. Oh, he's got 9 lives. I just really want to thank everyone for the messages, the prayers, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, text messages. It really means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to my family. And most importantly, I know my dad would really appreciate it. He has a long road. I'm not saying, that he's going to be back next week strutting, but definitely the prayers and the positive vibes help. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was okay. So everything's looking good, and this is where I belong, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, that being said, with you being here, here at SmackDown Live, does it feel nice to be able to be kind of getting back in the groove of things here?
Well, just to be with my friends, like traveling with Becky this weekend, seeing Breeze and AJ and New Day and just the whole SmackDown roster. I don't know, when you're used to doing something every single day and then it's taken away for 2 weeks, and especially like my bond with my dad is this. So like, I just kept thinking, like sitting there like, how am I going to talk to my dad about work? So just being back and knowing that he's getting better and it's, it's for the family. It feels like, I don't know, I just needed to get back in the groove of things.
Okay, that was great. It was great to get an update about the Nature Boy. The 16-time world champion, we wish him the best. We'll still keep him in our prayers. And I've said this 100 times, and it's no argument. He is the greatest of all time, at least in my opinion. And it was great to see Charlotte, hear from Charlotte. I want to thank, of course, WWE for courtesy of these videos and audios, and, of course, Universal and USA. We got more to talk about right now. Now, the one thing that people have been talking about is somewhat confusing, I'm not going to lie to you, Dolph Ziggler. The man has nothing to lose, has nothing to gain. Why not go out there and do pretty much anything he wants to do. I think ultimately we didn't see him on television. We didn't see him wrestle for weeks. I would joke all the time on Twitter. I would joke on the show, where is he? I understood he was buried, but my God. Was he buried alive? That's a question for you. Dolph Ziggler has a new take on this gimmick. So many people have opinions on Dolph Ziggler. What should he do? What does he do next? Is it a new gimmick? Should he walk away? Disappear for a year? Come back? Get a hero's welcome? One thing we know about Dolph, and one thing I always respect about Dolph, the guy wanted to be a wrestler. That's what he wanted to do. Obviously, we all know he wrestled at Kent State, was extremely successful, held records at Kent State, quickly transitioned into becoming a professional wrestler. This is what he wanted to do. He was a fan of this. This wasn't, let me try something, I failed, let me try being a wrestler. We see it inside the ring. As good as it gets inside the ring. One of the best in-ring performers of his generation, and of course he gets criticized for overselling. It's not a big deal. Or rather, he oversell than no sell. I mean, he has the handle of heel Ziggler. He's hardcore when it comes to this. Never found the right gimmick. People, of course, want to say he got buried by certain people. He backstage, he doesn't get along with certain people. I have met this man twice. Hung out with him one time. One of the nicest people I have ever met when it comes to the entertainment business. And I've said this before on the show, he was full-blown heel at the time. This was during WrestleMania weekend when he had the Money in the Bank briefcase. He was the nicest guy. Unbelievable. Which was a letdown. I've said this on the show many times. He was like too nice. Seems like a good dude. So having said that, what direction does he go into? I'm curious what you guys think. You guys could chime in at 844-627-3352. Dolph Ziggler, what does he do? What does WWE do with him? I'm a firm believer it's in his hands. I have a feeling they're like, all right, Dolph, what direction you want to go into? What do you want to do? Go. It's yours. Some of his backstage promos, which we're going to listen to right now, have been cryptic. We don't know what direction, but let's try to get some feedback from this.
Dolph, you said that you would be unveiling a new side of yourself this week. What can we expect?
Well, tonight, we're in Little Rock. So you can expect nothing. What I have planned is going to take longer. So you only really get one chance to make a first impression, right?
What motivated this desire for change?
Oh, I don't know. Being the best athlete in sports entertainment year after year till 10 years come around and nothing to show for it. Doing what I do in the ring better than anybody else over and over, and I give and I give and I give and I get nothing in return. I'm taken for granted. I'm an afterthought. But you know what I really am? I'm a star. Because they get distracted by twinkling lights, fancy jackets, and sequins on the jackets. And what does this even mean? Does this mean anything? This gesture literally means nothing. And don't even get me started about Raw. With Raw, there's a guy who comes out with a special light, playing guitar with an open mic. Is that what you want me to do? Do you want me to ride a motorcycle to the ring, playing a double neck guitar? Is that what I have to do to get noticed around here? Oh, I know what I can do. I can hop on a dumb four-wheeler like Stone Cold would. I can throw me a couple cold ones and act like I drink them as they pour all over my face. Oh, I know, I can do something even better. Douse me in paint, just like Finn Balor, so you can hopefully forget that I'm a charisma vacuum. Oh, I know, we grab a beautiful lady and have her escort me to the ring. That'll distract you. Oh, I got it. I can be a superhero. Zigman! All the years, dedication and sacrifice have meant nothing. So, you want all flash and no substance? That's what you're gonna get next week.
Okay, he's repeated that a couple times. Next week. What does that really mean? I don't think anyone really does. I just hope he gets over, and I hope whatever angle he's taking in this new reincarnation of Ziggler, hopefully it works out. He's a phenomenal talent. He deserves this. It wasn't that long ago when he was the fan favorite for all the hardcore marks, a guy who wrestled, a guy who would sneakily shoot, undermining people on certain promos, and of course on Twitter. That was Dolph Ziggler. Can you imagine this was it 2013 was the cash-in 4 years ago, and nothing to show from it. I've said this 100 times, a million times on the show. Out of the 40 live events I've been to, I have never heard a pop or love from a crowd or anticipation for something special like the Monday after WrestleMania when he cashed it in against Del Rio. It was unreal. It was perfect. It was the build-up. It was the chanting for Ziggler. Then he comes out. Then he pins him. He becomes the new champion. It was a special moment. Not only did it look great on television, but being there live, I can't even explain it, but it was awesome. And then, of course, I think it was a month later, he dropped it to Del Rio. Then he had concussion situations. He's a very talented person. He's got to find that niche. He's getting older, but he's not old. So I'm hoping that things fall in line with Dolph Ziggler. I'm a huge fan of his. I'm curious if you are. I mean, there's a lot of things that people have a lot of opinions on Dolph Ziggler. Change the gimmick completely. Walk away for a year. Go maybe to Japan. Come back. I'm curious what you think. Chime in. Join the conversation. 844-627-3352. You could call. We'll put you live on the air. If you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. Shoot me a text. It's the same number, 844-627-3352. We open with the Maharaja. And, of course, with Jinder Mahal, I mean, I talk about the opinions of so many people about Jinder Mahal. I love it. It was something different. 100 days as champion. 100 days as champion. Yes, I know. We all thought he had an opportunity to actually win the title. We thought it was never going to happen. It was just going to be a situation. He's in there. It's over. They just kind of let him go. It's fine. It's just a one-off. He ends up winning. Not only did he ends up winning, they invested all this time, all this energy into creating the Maharaja. I love the fact that within this calendar year, we've seen Heath Slater, Jinder Mahal, Drew McIntyre all become champions. Sometimes it takes time for wrestlers to develop. Now, this was obviously an unbelievable scenario with Jinder Mahal. And they start adding layers and layers to this entire gimmick and character of the Maharaja, and I enjoy it. And people hate it, and that's exactly what needs to happen. That's fine. When he comes out, the visuals of the red carpet, do you ever notice the ramp rolls out like a red carpet? Then he has the Singh brothers. Of course, when Jinder first came to the WWE, and we all know he's from Canada, he was billed from India, of course. And he had money and wealth. They kind of revisited that. Definitely after the fact that he got released years ago on that bloody moment when they made all these cuts. One thing, though, first of all, he draws heat, which is great. He is still not very good on the microphone. I mean, let's count the moments he's ever spoken on the microphone up until the reincarnation of this Jinder Mahal that we know. There's, okay, yes, you could practice backstage. Yes, you could practice in an empty arena. Yes, you could take promo classes. But when there's 15,000 people and you know millions are watching on television, it affects you. And not everybody's as good as a John Cena or a Kevin Owens. He does a lot of cliche heel mugging, of course, the snarl. Okay, he's indicating that he's a bad guy. Hopefully that character evolves very soon And hopefully continues to add more layers. We talk about this, certain elements. And what's been going on is usually once every 2 weeks, we add another element to the Maharaja. And we kept on thinking he was going to drop it again to Randy. We thought for sure Nakamura was going to win at SummerSlam. But with Smackdown, with Jinder Mahal, it has been the summer of surprises. And he continues to go. Not only that, of course, all eyes and attention are on Jinder Mahal. The average wrestling fan cannot stand him. He's doing his job perfectly. Kudos to Jinder. And of course, overseas, in India, with 1.3 billion people. And of course, it's the continent of Asia, which they decided to mention last night for the first time. Could that be a dig at Shinsuke? It's the first time. First of all, I was kind of thrown off on that. Second of all, that's the second thing I thought about. And of course, all these USA chants that come out. And people on Twitter were upset about that. I'm curious why you guys were upset. I mean, granted, every time there's a foreign heel, that is the go-to chant. And we're talking 40, 50, 60 years of professional wrestling. It just didn't happen in the 80s with Hogan and Sheik. And of course, there's allegations when it comes to Jinder that he's doing something special to his body. How about let's give him credit? We've seen videos of him changing his diet and working hard. Maybe when he first came up, he didn't have a bad body, no. But now, obviously, he comes back and he's completely shredded. We can see every major vein in his body. Some people take some time. Wouldn't be the worst thing if he taught some of his secrets to, say, Baron Corbin, which we'll get to very soon. Not the most exciting promo. We're going to just take you back for a second and let's listen to a little bit of this. And, of course, the Singh brothers kind of chime in.
All of you jingoistic naysayers, you point your finger and you laugh. Ever since I was made to look like a fool by Shinsuke Nakamura. I am no fool. I am the best of the best. I am your WWE champion. Now, somebody must pay the price. Who will pay the price for the disrespect?
Maharaja, we failed you last week. We failed you, and at this time, we'd like to publicly apologize to everybody in the great continent of Asia.
Even Jinder's like, what?
We like to apologize to the 1.3 billion people in India.
Still to this day, the biggest pop I get is the 1.3 billion.
Maharaja, please, we'd like to apologize to our family in Punjab, mommy, daddy, everybody. And more importantly, specifically to you, Maharaja. We want to
it's called a
apologize
promo,
to you.
kid, and if you want to be the big dog, you're going to have to learn how to do it, so go ahead.
Maharaja.
It's called a promo.
Quite frankly, Maharaja, last week we embarrassed you. It was through our ignorance and lack of skill that Nakamura was able to lay a finger on you. But we vow that Nakamura will never touch you again. Kadini, ever again, never. We don't deserve you. We prostrate ourselves. And right here, in front of the great nation of India, on behalf of the great nation of India, we would like to publicly a little respect. We're trying to apologize to the champ. On behalf of the great nation of India, we would like to publicly kiss your royal feet. Yes, please, Maharaja.
Okay, this is brutal. Brutal.
Really? This is such an act of patriotism and devotion and loyalty. This is disturbing. I'm admiring these kids. I mean, great leaders inspire devotion like this, and this. You can see how much the modern-day Maharaja means to the Singh brothers.
Okay, it was even JBL had a tough time trying to sell that. Of course, Shinsuke comes out. I want to go back and let's go back to the top of the card. Obviously, that was the beginning with Jinder, and then we see Shelton Benjamin. That's actually the first match. Him and Gable versus Ascension. Several Let's Go Shelton chants. The crowd gave him a great reception. I think when someone comes back, there's a better way of kind of returning, but okay, we knew he's coming, and he just, hey, I'm in a match. There's no solo entrance, no nothing. All indications are maybe he's not happy with the fact that he's part of a tag team with Gable, which is fine. Let them fight. Let them duke it out. They got 40 days to break up if they want. More importantly, Shelton will do the job. He looked great. Great, 42 years old. And we knew about his athleticism. We knew about his talents since really day one. It was never really about his talents. It was more about his charisma, maybe in the ring, outside of the ring, on the microphone, his promo work, the character itself. Found a stride with the gold standard, found a stride with Charlie Haas. His alliances with Kurt Angle. Now there's an even more an appreciation of Shelton Benjamin. He was a great wrestler. Never could hold his own on the mic. Didn't have an explosive gimmick. That was kind of the scouting report. But now being a great wrestler, absolutely suffice. Times have changed. Came in, obviously, post-Attitude Era, where the WWE was still trying to find themselves. You have to remember that era. Some great superstars. Some superstars that were kind of on their way out. Transitioning away from the shock and awe of the Attitude Era. Not so much PG, but maybe PG-13 or 14. And then finally evolving to the current state. He looked great, once again. They go to the split screen for the commercials, which are utterly annoying. 42 years old, but look great. And, of course, they go over. It's against the Ascension. Not to knock the Ascension by no means. I mean, considering their biggest highlight was pretty much being on the Fashion Files. Coming up on that second match was the U.S. Open Challenge. Ty Dillinger answers the call. Once again, another prospect who's phenomenal, who gets lost in the shuffle. They really do have a problem with bringing up NXT guys. It's becoming a big problem. We're going to talk about that a little bit more as we talk about Bobby Roode. We knew about the 6-7 month struggle with Nakamura till finally he found his way. I don't think he found his way. I don't think he got over with the casual fans. I don't think they knew direction until Money in the Bank when he came back after getting a beatdown from Baron. And he came back 30 minutes later and the place erupted. It's kind of tough to find the footing for some of these guys who get called up from NXT. Ty Dillinger is a phenomenal wrestler. And he's pretty damn good on the microphone as well. And, of course, he has the 10 gimmick, which is a built-in gimmick. The crowd accepts him. They also love it. So he answers the call. Corbin attacks him, tells him, yo, what are you doing, dude? I was going to come and answer the call. So there's a skirmish outside of the ring. The match is, we still don't know who's facing anybody yet. But somehow Ty gets the opportunity. AJ versus Ty. AJ wins. Very quick. We don't really show Ty's talents at all. So many questions people have, so many comments, especially about Baron Corbin. How could he get buried? Is he in trouble backstage? Well, first of all, we don't know if he's in trouble backstage. How many times do people want to report that they have the inside. They don't. What I think is brilliant is we have people talking about Baron Corbin. Isn't that what you want? We have people hating Baron Corbin. Isn't that what you want? We also have people feeling sorry for Baron Corbin. Isn't that what you want? Of course you do. Not only that, it's all been documented about a horrible couple weeks that Baron Corbin had. Losing every opportunity, getting squashed, losing at SummerSlam. Nothing can go right. What does this do? It fuels his fire. He has nothing to lose. He's a lone wolf. I've said this 100 times. He'd be phenomenal. I think as a face. Let him disappear. Let him be that guy who only says a few words. A bruiser type. Or he could continue as a heel, which is fine. It's going to take some time. People don't like him. That's good. He's doing his job. We can only imagine the Hell in a Cell will be Baron and AJ. Don't feel too sorry for Baron Corbin. I think he was used as a prime example that the Money in the Bank briefcase is not a guarantee. Now, granted, he did lose it very early on. Fuels the fire. He has been given a lot of opportunities, yes. Dating back to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He won that. Then he kind of disappeared. Okay, so after that, we finally see Mike and Maria Kanellis. What is Mikey Bennett? Is he a jobber? I think he's won one time, maybe. Was he brought in as an enhancement guy with a great gimmick and a hot girl? We don't know. Because he's not faring good. What is Bobby Roode billed at right now? What's he doing? He's pandering to the crowd. He's feeling good. He's like a face. Yes, we know that it's a nod to the 16-time champion. But now it's just getting a lot of hand here. Or maybe it is a nod. And Rick is watching. And there's been extra strutting. We don't know. He also didn't get that great of a reaction from the crowd. I was pretty shocked. Arkansas was up and down last night. There were moments where they were as silent as a kickoff crowd for SummerSlam this year. Bobby Roode wins, and that's it. Right now, his theme is more over than Bobby Roode when it comes to Smackdown. Come on, it's time for the casual fans to kind of really get to know Bobby Roode. Please don't tell me that every person who watches SmackDown watches NXT. That is not true. Every person that watches SmackDown did not dabble into TNA. That didn't happen. Let's establish who Bobby Roode is. It's the same fate as Nakamura. Nakamura, one of the most beloved, respected wrestlers in the world. One of the greatest, if not one of the greatest of all time. Yes, Shinsuke Nakamura. You got to remember, not just because you're listening to the show, just because you're a hardcore fan, we're talking about 80%, 85% of the world does not know about Shinsuke Nakamura, does not know about Bobby Roode. No one's fault, by no means. Let's do a better job illustrating who Bobby Roode is. Why is he glorious? And in the same return, you try to put Mikey Bennett on television. Sorry, Mike Kanellis. It's been a complete waste with him as well. Especially when you have one of the phenomenal female heels. Like Maria, nothing to show for. We're wasting Maria. We're wasting Mikey Bennett. I don't know what this gimmick is about love. I have no idea. I do know that they got a phenomenal theme song. It really was the battle of theme songs last night. Okay, that's enough. Playing those two themes lasted longer than the match last night. So then we go back to the top of the hour, and we already played the audio where KO cuts the promo. Sammy versus Aiden English. So KO, after that promo, he goes on commentary. He's phenomenal. Then he becomes the ref. Power bomb Sammy. There's a quick count. Aiden English. Poor Sami Zayn, as everyone would say. Sometimes you just got to do the job. Now, in Sammy's case, he's got to do the job every week. Usos and New Day. Now, this was for stipulations for the rematch. Usos go over. No word yet. Maybe there is a word, and I'm not aware of it. No word yet. Question I got to ask you guys, we're going to talk more about in the second hour. Did John Cena bury Roman Reigns? That's a debate I'm having all the time. Did he bury him? I don't think so. And I'm going to explain why. I might put that up on Twitter, as a matter of fact. Did he flat out bury him? I don't think he did. We're going to have the code break coming up in the next hour as well. We're going to have some fun talking to you guys. We try to make this a very work-friendly show. What does that mean? Well, I don't, there's no need to curse. I'm an adult. I'm not trying to pop myself or a co-host. I don't have a co-host. I don't need to pop you by cursing. More importantly, I don't want to be in a situation where you're actually listening at work, and all of a sudden, I start cursing. Then you shut it off. I lose a live listener. I don't want that to happen. Or I lose a listener on demand. Join the conversation. It's 844-627-3352. That's 844-627-3352. What we're going to do right now, we're going to take a small little break and come back in a matter of moments. When we come back, we're going to finish talking about SmackDown. More importantly, we're going to go back and talk about Monday Night Raw. We're going to foreshadow No Mercy, foreshadow Hell in the Cell. We got the code break coming up in the next hour of the program. So join us. Why not? We want to hear from you. The show is created for you guys. Call or text 844-627-3352. I'm your host, Mardel. It's the Wrestling Morning Show. We'll be right back.
Now back to the Wrestling Morning Show.
(9:45) Eastern Standard Time. Good morning for the people just joining us. Without a doubt, the best line of the night. Rusev, deceptively funny. He's backstage with Jinder. Pretty much tells him, look, dude, we're not friends. And then he proceeds to say the funniest line of the night. Look, we're not friends. We're not going to do a ride-along together. I actually did a rewind. I had to hear that again. It was very funny. Rusev is funny. Of course, those cryptic little tweets that everyone speculated that he was either going to get released or asking for his release. His better half, Lana, now has taken Tamina under her wing. That's fine. Let's see what goes on. It really goes back to the old ravishing aspect of Lana. I guess are they not continuing on? Is she injured that we don't know about? No more wrestling. They squashed her. What a build to say that the new Lana was coming out after taking some time, and the new music, the new gimmick, and nothing. All I heard online last night was complaints about how short her skirt was. No, I'm joking. I would block anybody who would say that. All right, let's see. Let's see if she can help out Tamina. I wouldn't mind it. Something different. Now, obviously, we know she was the best when she was that. The coach on the sidelines, the crush, which she brought back last night. It has happened so many times on SmackDown where this has stolen the show. And we're talking about the return of Breezango and Fashion Files. So proud of Fandango. So proud of Tyler Breeze. Really lost in the shuffle and making the best opportunity. They actually shot a complete opening scenes for this. Great vignettes. Inspired by the 80s. Let's go ahead and take a listen. Love their new shirts.
Two Splendors car. Two. Deputy Dango. So, hey man, now that we're done with our vacation,
I'm thinking we can really focus in on solving our biggest crime ever.
Vacation?
Yeah.
Crime never takes a vacation, man.
You're right. Me neither. You want to check out the new tech from the boys in the lab?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Look at this. Normal headphones, right? Wrong. Long distance, high frequency listening device. Black light.
Yeah.
Lets you see hidden clues that you really can't see with the naked eye.
I know what this is.
What's that?
It's a title.
No. That's a belt.
Oh, yeah, belt. Grappling belt?
No.
Tranquilizing belt?
No. Just hold your pants up.
What those things?
These, my friend. These are friendship bracelets.
What do?
They make a friendship stronger.
All aboard the friendship.
Nice.
Party of two.
Doo-doo.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I like these.
You want to test some of this stuff out?
Yeah, try it out.
Cool. Oh, nice.
Look at that shirt.
That's a cool shirt, man.
It's a good-looking shirt.
I like that shirt.
I like it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's an arrow.
That's an arrow. That's an arrow. That's an arrow. That's an arrow. That's an arrow. That's an arrow. That's an arrow. That's an arrow. That's an arrow. That's an arrow. That's an arrow. That's
the same arrow.
It's an arrow.
You're going in a circle.
What are you doing?
Look at this.
Another arrow.
What's there? To be or not to be?
That's the answer. Just worked a second ago. Help me out. Okay, that's cool. Shakespeare, poetry, artist, Bob
Shinsuke
Ross.
Nakamura. No, it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense.
Confusion hath now become his masterpiece.
English, breeze, English.
English. Aiden English.
You know what I always say?
Might be a what?
Crime never takes a vacation.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's sadly, after a weird SmackDown, it's one of the highlights that we have. Let's continue to finish on with what's going on SmackDown last night. So now we got the main event. It's Randy, Shinsuke, Rusev, Jinder. It was pretty much clear that Randy wants to go after the strap. That's fine. And of course, this was a pretty good match. First of all, you got four very talented people inside the ring. A lot of love for Shinsuke, a lot of love for Randy. Arkansas is a face-heavy crowd, as we know. It's great to see Rusev, man. It really is. I'm such a huge fan. I don't think they've really found the niche yet on what to do. I tell you what, ever win against Jinder, you want to do a face turn, there you go. He's obviously separated slightly on storyline-wise from Lana and has a tan. I've never seen him with a tan. His beard looks decent. Looks like he's in the best shape of his career. Once again, what do they do with Shinsuke? And, of course, Randy and Jinder go over. And everything is hunky-dory. There's a lot of love for both of them. And, of course, the RKO out of nowhere on Shinsuke Nakamura. Place actually explodes. And, by the way, I am clapping. That's an unbelievable job selling it. Sold it out of it. Good job, Shinsuke. And that was pretty much SmackDown. So many questions left when it comes to Hell in a Cell, but they got 40 days. Wouldn't this be a great opportunity just to try some stuff, try stuff with Ziggler? Continue to showcase some of these guys. How about 40 days of introducing people that we were not really familiar with? Ty Dillinger, Bobby Roode. I've said this 100 times. We just talked about it minutes ago. We still don't know Bobby Roode. If you're a hardcore fan, yes, you know his entire history. Casual fans don't. People are just now getting to know Shinsuke Nakamura. What do you expect these guys to go over? Just because they return in a situation when they actually make their debuts, they're in hotbed cities during a pay-per-view where it's mostly hardcore fans. Of course they get over. But they go to places like Arkansas or Memphis, and they may not know them. Or for the casual fan watching on television, You got 40 days to establish this. I hope it's not another NXT situation where they get lost in the shuffle. Even Finn Balor, for a couple months, got lost in the shuffle before he was in the Universal Championship discussion, before there really even was the title opportunity. Technically, before they even created the title. The greatest call-up of all time really was, well, Kevin Owens. The moment he got on there, boom. He did not wait for anybody to make his own destiny. He created his own, which was awesome. That's what a pro does. We have a lot to talk about coming up in the next hour. It's 9:54. Join us on the show. It's 844-627-3352. Couple things we're going to be talking about that I believe are utterly important. Did John Cena bury Roman Reigns? I'm a firm believer. You know what? You got to stand up for yourself. Roman had an opportunity to do that. After 3 years, you don't know how to defend yourself on the microphone. You may have some problems. Now, granted, you're going against John Cena. As good as it gets. We're going to talk about the direction of Jinder Mahal, more importantly, the direction of the WWE title. Talk more about Cena and Roman, how they have now overshadowed Brock and Braun. We got the code break coming up. We're going to dissect more of Monday Night Raw. We're talking about anything you guys want to talk about. Join the conversation. Call or text. The number is 844-627-3352. We'll be back very soon. Okay, so, we've talked a lot about thus far, if you're just joining us, we've talked a lot thus far about Smackdown, and it's time to kind of move on from that. It really is. Smackdown is what it was. With 5 weeks left, you would think they would take this opportunity to put the product over, try new things, and hopefully they do. We have a lot of show lined up. The number is 844-627-3352. Call me, text me. We got the code break with Brent Cody coming up. So hopefully you join us. You stay and listen. Twitter was quite boring last night. Obviously the hub of wrestling fans when it comes to Mondays and Tuesday nights. We just reposted the link on Twitter. So you can click live on Twitter. You guys realize that, right? Click live, click. You can listen. We're posing this question. Did Cena truly bury Roman or did Roman bury himself? We're going to discuss that. Probably the first question we're going to ask Coder when he gets on there. After we discuss how disgusting SmackDown was and how anticlimactic. You're coming off an unbelievable Monday Night Raw. All eyes are on you. And SmackDown was just a letdown. SmackDown. Let down. 10:18 Eastern Standard Time. Join this conversation. We got plenty of show left. We foreshadow the future right now. As you know, No Mercy. A couple weeks away, the 24th at Staples Center. 2 massive matches that we know about. Lesnar, Braun, Cena, Roman. I'm hoping the Intercontinental Championship will be defended. Now, it's supposed to be defended next week on Monday Night Raw. Miz and Jeff Hardy. I do believe there could be some shenanigans that occur, and hopefully it's Miz and Jeff Hardy at the Staples Center. If not, it'll probably be the Miz Taraj versus the Hardys and Jason Jordan. There you go. We almost expect a guarantee of Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss as well. So say this plays out. We'll have Brock and Braun, Cena and Roman, Alexa and Nia, and hopefully the Miz in some capacity defending the title. And if it's not him, maybe it's Jeff Hardy. It would be a shame to have the Miz not defend the title in his new hometown of Hollywood. He's an A-lister. He needs to be in the City of Lights. Hell in a Cell Well, that's a lot later. We expected the next couple weeks of SmackDown to, I believe, be a little brutal, but man, this was really brutal. They got to bounce back. They got to know that they put on a horrible show last night. Maybe they're pacing themselves. Maybe they're taking their time. I don't know what you would call it. It was unfortunate, to say the least. But the question we ask you right now, if you are listening, did Cena bury Roman? Or did Roman bury himself? Because you would have to think, yes, it's been 5 years he's been called up to the main roster. A little over 3, he's had the ability to actually speak on the microphone. You have to understand that, of course, it was just awkward and timid when he started doing promos as a solo gimmick. And he's gotten a lot better. And I've also said this 100 times. Nobody shoots a better heel promo than Roman Reigns. No one does. We get to see good guy versus good guy at No Mercy. This rarely happens. This is as big as like when Warrior would take on Hogan. Hogan would take on Macho. Good guy versus good guy. So I'm curious. What do you guys think about this? I think there has to be a situation here where you're going literally in the ring, doing a promo, pound for pound against one of the greatest ever to touch a microphone, John Cena. You have to defend yourself. And I think there were elements where he did. But not to that extent, where people are saying, oh, there you go, Cena burying another guy. If you let someone bury you on the microphone, isn't it your fault? That's what I'm trying to get at. Well, it's time to bring on a very special guest.
It's the Code Break with Brent Cody.
It's that time again. We bring on Coder for the Code Break. Hello, Coder.
Good morning. How you doing, Mardel?
Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us here on the Wrestling Morning Show. You guys could join the conversation. It's 844-627-3352. If you have a question, comment, concern with myself and Mr. Coder for the Code Break. Let's get this out of the way. How bad was SmackDown last night?
Oh, man, it was pretty brutal. Not the best effort. Certainly Raw was the better show this week. But there was some interesting things that came up, I'm sure, that we'll get into.
Yeah, there definitely were some interesting things that occurred last night on SmackDown. Now, the one thing I want to pick your brain about, I'm a huge fan of Dolph Ziggler. I think you have respect for Ziggler as well. What are these cryptic promos? Is there a plan? Are they buying time to Hell in a Cell? What does he do to salvage his career as he's getting a little bit older now? So when you hear Ziggler's promo, what do you think? And what's next for Dolph Ziggler?
I think it'd be fun if he follows up on this sort of angle he's created for himself, and he comes out in some over-the-top way just to prove his point that, this is what it takes to get over. You've got to have a glowing woman. You've got to sing and dance and act like a fool. That would be fun for a week or two. But now it seems like, they're really having this build to his new character. Where we may not even see it until, maybe the next pay-per-view or weeks from now. They're really kind of stretching this out. So, I don't know. I thought it might be fun to do for a while. He's done everything else. If he were to come out in this over-the-top, he's got the robe and all these things that he's been talking about, I thought would be cool, or at least fun for a while. I don't know that would ultimately work. It would be a fun angle for him to run to prove his point. But, I don't know if it's just all talk, and what we really see is actually a more vicious, brutal, gimmick killer type of character, which would be cool, where he has a problem with anybody with an over-the-top, gimmick and goes after them or tries to destroy, parts of their gimmick. Etc. Much like we had the legend killer in Randy Orton, but this would be more of the gimmick killer and really tearing down what the fans have loved about certain characters. I think that could be an interesting angle. So a couple different ways they could go with this. And he needs something new, honestly. He's tried it all to get over. So I think this sort of gimmick killer angle could be interesting.
Well, there's been talk about, first of all, I wouldn't mind him just continue to shoot, and maybe goes to the top. And by the way, yes, I was a little frustrated not seeing for a couple of weeks, but maybe you're right. He holds off until Hell in the Cell, or he holds off till the go-home show, or maybe he interrupts somebody at Hell in the Cell. If we got Jinder Mahal as the champion and we still have Nakamura in the picture and Randy Orton, why not Dolph Ziggler? Let's continue with this extended summer of shock and awe, even though it'll be the fall before we get to Hell in the Cell. 40 days left. A couple other things. Let's move on from this. Also, people talk about Dolph just walking away for a while. Go to New Japan, do his comedy, come back, and we'll miss him. Just like a lot of stars have come back. We miss you. It's part of nostalgia in certain ways. I've been critical about, and we all have been critical about, talent from NXT coming up. Bobby Roode, hardcore fans, they know Bobby Roode. They know his entire career. From TNA to NXT till now. Of course, it's not a surprise. We know who Bobby Roode is. We know his talents. His theme is more over than most of the roster. But I still think there is an element of 80% of those casual fans who have no idea who Bobby Roode is. And since he's made his debut, they have not illustrated who Bobby Roode is. First of all, what is Bobby Roode? Is he a face now? Is he a heel? He's going in against last night with Mike and Maria. Another wasted opportunity with Mike Kanellis. You have a phenomenal heel female who could speak for you. We have not seen that in a while. I don't think they know what they're doing with him, except for squash matches. I think he's won one time since he's been up there. I think they need to do a better job of Bobby Roode because he's going to fall into that shuffle of guys who get called up from NXT and there's nothing for them to do. We've seen Sami Zayn. It's happened to Sami Zayn. We definitely just saw it with Nakamura. It happened a little bit with Finn Balor before he was in the Universal Championship chase. We've seen it with these NXT guys. Ty Dillinger last night. They don't know what to do with him, but they rushed him up. And Bobby Roode's 40 years old. Let's establish something. More importantly, he's so talented. Let's not go to waste with having come out with the flashy robe and go against somebody like Mike Kanellis. I don't know. Can you shed some light on this whole thing? Am I overanalyzing this Bobby Roode thing? Or do you think with this opportunity, let's get to know him? We got 40 days until Hell in a Cell. That's a lot of time. Give me your thoughts, Coder.
Well, I mean, they could have gone about this a different way. And yes, you're right. I mean, for the casual fan who may not know who he is, I mean, these sort of, introductory matches, squash matches, if you will, sort of familiarize people with him, but they haven't given him the microphone. I haven't followed his whole career. And what I know of Bobby Roode is he's been a heel. I mean, every time, I know he was for the most part, with TNA and I'm just really surprised they're trying to bring him in as a face. He just came across, what I do know of him is he comes across as a natural heel. I think that's the right role for him. So I'm surprised to see them trying to get him over as a face, or at least with these first initial bouts, it seems to be going that way. But I don't even know if they know. Put a microphone in his hand. Let's hear from him. And let's understand more about what his goals are in WWE, why he's here, what he's shooting for, what he ultimately wants to do. We don't really have a clear path from his mouth about why, So I'd love to hear from him. I would hope that eventually he's going to find his way to being a heel, because I think that's what he naturally is. I think he's very good at that. I also, was a little disappointed that now Kanellis has become enhancement talent.
Yeah.
He did the job. He just looked like a jobber last night. After, they invested all this time in these, promos and things. Thought it was a smart angle. This couple, you had the crowd booing love and the power of love. And then you had them going from kissing and being all into each other to just vicious attacks. I thought it was a great angle. I thought it was unique. Certainly a mid-card angle, but it was entertaining. And now it looks like, they were forgotten about at SummerSlam and being used as an enhancement talent now. So I'm disappointed on many levels, not only in Bobby Roode's character thus far, but also what's happened to Mike and Maria.
Yeah, I mean, the sentiments exactly. We also turn our attention to the WWE champion, the Maharaja, who really is the fate of 1.3 billion people, which I'm working on that drop. I go back to the archives and listen to some of the audio and cut that. I don't know what direction they're going with. Is it a rematch with Nakamura? Is it going to be a triple threat? Is Randy Orton in the picture? Is Rusev in the picture? Fatal four-way. There's a lot of time left to kind of build this. So what do they say? I hope they're not taking the mentality. I can't imagine they would ever take the mentality, look, we got time. Let's make this a slow burn. Because what's disappointing about last night, with all eyes and everybody talking about Monday Night Raw, you had a golden opportunity to really do something special last night, and they failed. Now, let's turn our attentions, and we'll come back to SmackDown if we have time, but let's turn our attentions to something that has taken a life of its own online. And let me give you some highlights of what I'm talking about.
That's fine, big dog. Congratulations. It took you 5 years to cut a halfway decent promo, but now I'm about to shrink you down to size. You should be ashamed I'm a part-timer, because I can do this part-time better than you could ever do it full-time.
Okay. That's obviously for Monday Night Raw with the epic promo battle that occurred between Roman and Cena. And it's amazing how your initial reactions, we thought it was unbelievable, and I still think it was unbelievable what occurred between Roman and John Cena. So now there's like this sympathy out there for Roman Reigns and this hatred and heat on Cena that Cena buried Roman Reigns. Without a doubt, Cena got the best of him. We're talking about one of the greatest ever to touch a microphone. Now, let me ask you this. Did Cena bury Roman Reigns? And if he did, isn't it Roman's fault if you allow someone to bury you on the microphone inside the ring? I mean, you have every opportunity. Say they just shot from the hip, which with Roman, I don't think is the case. I think he needs to actually have some notes, some bullet points, maybe even rehearse a little bit, not, even if he was by himself in the ring. But now he's going against John Cena, one of the greatest on the microphone of all time. Why would you ever allow someone to do that to you if you're a wrestler inside the ring? Get buried. I can understand getting buried, in a match. I can understand if creative or the powers that be want to bury you. But do you think he was buried? That's my question to you. And second of all, if you think he was, shouldn't he have defended himself on the microphone?
No, I don't think he was buried. I mean, look, if you're at a level, he's supposed to be the modern day Cena, right? He's supposed to be the man, the big dog, the guy, whatever. Then it's his role to step up in those situations. And, if he got buried by Cena, yeah, I'm with you. That's his own fault. Do you think a guy like Stone Cold, The Rock, anybody else that's on that level would have got buried by Cena? No, hell no. It would have been an epic promo, and they would have held their own. I thought, Roman did pretty well. Cena is one of the best, maybe the best ever on the microphone, arguably. I mean, you got guys like Stone Cold and The Rock and a few others, but he's up there. And, I thought Reigns actually did pretty well. He did, he held up pretty well, but Cena ultimately got the best of him, which has been the case throughout his career. That's why he's John Cena. He has eclipsed just about everybody on his path. Roman Reigns had the room to say and do whatever he wanted. He knew he had a promo coming with John Cena. If he wasn't prepared for the biggest promo of his life, that's not on John Cena. Now, maybe Cena went off script. Maybe Cena got a little too real, but you got to prepare yourself for that. You have to have all the ammunition that you possibly can have against Cena when you step in the ring to cut a promo against him. And if he came in unprepared, then that's on him, because The Rock, Stone Cold, and other guys of that magnitude are not going to step into that ring being unprepared.
Well, you also, as you throw in those icons, we got to remember one thing that I said, you know, and I threw this Twitter poll question out last night, and I'm going to just ask you now before we get to our Twitter poll roundup like we always do. After the epic promos last night on Raw, how would you compare this to Punk's iconic one from 6 years ago? Okay, I know it's a little sacrilegious to even compare it to probably the most iconic promo of all time next to Stone Cold's Austin 316. But I'd put those two up there as one of the most iconic promos of all time. So let me ask you this question. Compared to Punk's promo, was it better, on the same level, nowhere near Punk, solid, decent, not epic? What do you think?
I think it was on the level. It's kind of weird because, you know, Cena was in a battle with Roman. So it was back and forth, and they were playing off of each other. And so it was a different style of promo where, you know, CM Punk's was sitting Indian style and saying what's on his mind.
Right.
You know, pipe bomb, right? So it was a little bit different in that respect. If Cena got to just go out there and say whatever the hell he wanted about Reigns, you know, uncontested, things might have come out differently. So it's a little bit different style. But I would say it was on the level. It was a shoot. It was real. And for Cena, that's about as close as you're going to get. It wasn't better than CM Punk. It was probably maybe a notch lower than that. But it was certainly a memorable promo from Cena, considering, you know, the match at hand and the company he shared with the biggest star, two biggest stars in the ring.
Well, shockingly enough, 11% said better, 22% on the same level, 39% nowhere near Punk, 28% solid, decent, not epic. So the majority kind of, you know, I think the majority won't even compare it to Punk's promo, but that's unfortunate. We have to compare a promo that happened 6 years ago. Okay, let's move on to some other things.
It's called a promo,
Shut
kid,
your
and
mouth,
if you want to
John.
be the big dog, you're going to have to learn how to do it, so go ahead.
Okay. I mean, literally, I've taken 5 different drops out of that promo work from Monday night. Okay. I think we wait. Unfortunately, it's a waiting game with SmackDown till Hell in a Cell. Saw Sami Zayn, saw Aiden English last night. Usos and New Day. I'm curious what the stipulation is going to be for their rematch. I mean, I can only imagine that at some point, some way, somehow, they'll be in Hell in a Cell, even though the rematch may come sooner. Good to see Shelton Benjamin last night, by the way. 42 years old, could still go. Crowd was into it. What do you think happens with Shelton and Gable? They continue as a tag team, or all these indications of possibly breaking up? I think the best thing to happen is let them wrestle a couple more weeks, let them break up. What's your opinion, Coder?
I'd love to see that. Yeah, I don't know the long term here for this tag team. You know, Shelton's only got a few more years left. So, you know, I expect him to be more in some sort of singles title picture rather than as a tag team. But I think it does help to bring attention to Gable since he lost his partner and help build him. The breakup would only go further to put him over. But make no mistake, he's part of this tag team and he's back in this situation to put Gable over or elevate Gable. So however that plays out, I think that's his ultimate goal. He's done his thing. His career is in the twilight, and he's there to simply put talent over. And in this case, it'll be Chad Gable and probably others along the way. But I'm intrigued by it. I think it's a good thing for everybody involved. I think Gable needs some development. I think traveling with Shelton, being in the ring with Shelton, you know, practicing with Shelton is only going to further help develop him. He was with a partner, you know, who was pretty much, you know, the same, you know, who was green just like him and didn't have the experience. And now he's got somebody he can learn from. So hopefully we'll see that come to fruition. And then ultimately, you know, these guys split up and like you said, you know, you can really help put Gable over. So we'll see where this goes, but I like it so far.
All right, good. Somebody who's deceptively funny is Rusev. If you ever watch Total Divas, sometimes Total Divas can be unbearable. Rusev made Total Divas last year, and it's good to have him back. He looks better than ever. Now, hopefully, even though he was very cryptic on Twitter last week, people thought he got released. It obviously turns out no. Now, obviously, Lana's gone back to the old gimmick, helping Tamina out the same way she did with Rusev. The funniest line last night, and probably I've heard in a couple weeks, because Rusev is so funny, he's backstage with Jinder and he goes, look, we're not friends. We're not going to do a ride-along together. And it was, I popped so hard on that. I rewound and listened to it again. Speaking of Rusev, I'm a little clueless right now what they're doing. I think that they don't know what they're doing when it comes to Jinder and the WWE Championship. It seems like only 3 other players have a hand in this, and this is going to be Randy, Nakamura, and, of course, possibly Rusev. Any indication what direction they might go into moving to Hell in a Cell?
I mean, I would love to see this end up in a fatal 4-way in a Hell in a Cell. I think that would be cool. That's my indication of where things are going with all of these guys involved. We're going to see, I thought it was kind of cool and unexpected to see Randy at the very end with the RKO,
right,
Nakamura. So yeah, that to me, once that happened, I in my mind, this goes to be a fatal 4-way in a Hell in a Cell.
Okay, well, it's about that time. I know you're strapped for time and really an uneventful night last night. Let me ask you a couple questions from last night. Now, normally when things are slow and sluggish on one of these shows, I start dabbling with Twitter poll questions. And this is one from last night. Crazy talk for a sluggish Smackdown Live. A crazy 100 days that included Jinder as champ. What mid-carder could be champ this time next year? Crazy talk. Your options are Baron Corbin, Ty Dillinger, Rusev, or Zack Ryder. This is now, once again, I prefaced the question by crazy talk for a sluggish SmackDown, and then I ended it with crazy talk.
I mean, I would say the most likely of those would be Corbin, unfortunately. I don't know if he'll ever get there. Obviously, he just got buried. But I'll go with Corbin here.
Well, 28% said Baron Corbin, 24% said Ty Dillinger, 28% said Rusev, 20% said Zack Ryder. So I would say it's kind of split all around. Now, the next question, 40 days till Hell in the Cell. I understand the slow pace of storylines. If you could add one Raw mid-carder to push on SmackDown Live, who would it be? The options are Enzo, Emma, Elias, or Jason Jordan. So who's one Raw mid-carder you'd put on SmackDown and you'd give them a huge push? Enzo, Emma, Elias, or Jason Jordan?
Man, they're all getting their chance to shine on Raw right now. So maybe Elias would have a little bit more room to develop, although he's been given quite a bit of time lately. Same with Emma and Jason Jordan, obviously. I think Jordan has to stay on Raw because that's where his dad is, and it makes some sense, and he just left SmackDown. So,
okay, well, Elias got 35%, Jason Jordan 7%, and 12% by Enzo. But Emma had 46%. So she won that poll. The polls are still out there if you're listening. Okay, here's a random one. Obviously, these are all random because SmackDown was just so slow last night. What Gallows and Anderson line do you find yourself saying the most lately around non-wrestling fans? What Gallows and Anderson line do you find yourself saying the most lately around non-wrestling fans? Too sweet me, good brother, or a couple of nerds?
I mean, it's got to be Too Sweet me. Although I was saying broski the other day after a couple of years, so that's not on the list. But I'll go with Too Sweet me here.
Well, I say all three. I don't say nerds as much as, I don't really have that opportunity. Too Sweet me with 36, 32 good brother, 32 couple of nerds. I have been saying good brother a lot more lately. All right, let's move on to our next poll. And this was something that I've always wanted to ask. And this is a question I should have asked during a Raw. And the reason I actually asked this question was because you could tell that there was no activity last night on Twitter. And usually for SmackDown, there's not a lot of activity on Twitter compared to Monday Night Raw. Wow, such an anticlimactic night compared to last night for Raw. So I am curious, wrestling fans, watching-wise, SmackDown and Raw, what do you do? So watching-wise, when you watch the program, what do you do? Watch live always. DVR 30, 60 minutes in, then you start. Watch late at night and fast forward, or wait till the next day /AM.
Well, I never wait to the next day, but I have been known to start the program later so that I can fast forward through a lot of, replays, commercials, etc. But I generally watch it live, if not start it a few minutes late just to skip some commercials. But never the next day. I got to see it.
Well, surprisingly enough, 64%. I was pretty shocked by this. And this poll was not a well-received poll. Once again, I should have asked this during Raw, and I'm probably going to ask it during Raw. 64% says watch live always. 9% DVR 30, 60 minutes in. Then I start. 9% watch it late at night. Now, surprised about this. 18% wait till the next day /AM. So I was pretty shocked by that AM thing. Before we started this show, I would always wait 30 to 60 minutes and then fast forward because of commercials. But now with live tweeting and trying to be on top of everything, I go the duration, 3 hours 10, 3 hours 15 as I watch with Raw, and of course the same with SmackDown. So there you go. Well, Coder, I tell you what, it was a tale of two shows. Not much to talk about today. And hopefully the fuel from Monday Night Raw leads us into next Monday with an unbelievable show. And hopefully, I can only imagine all eyes, all ears will be on Monday Night Raw, and hopefully bounce back with a better SmackDown because the fans deserve it. So, anything else you'd like to add, my friend?
Well, we didn't really talk about, my boy, Kevin Owens.
Okay.
And I really thought that was fun last night with what they did with the angle. Obviously, we knew it was coming.
Right.
Where Kevin Owens is going to be so upset that he's been screwed now twice by Shane McMahon. And I thought it was really fun that he just, jumps in the ring, an unsurprising ref, rips his jersey off of him right in the middle of the ring, puts it on, and becomes the referee. Then, power bombs, AJ and Aiden English goes over with the quick count. I thought it was fun way to progress. Obviously, a storyline that's headed for a Shane O'Mac and Kevin Owens match, which may or may not occur in a Hell in a Cell. Obviously, we know Shane's history inside a Hell in a Cell, so that could be great. But that was one of my favorite parts of SmackDown last night. Obviously, Kevin Owens is my boy, so I love just any segment he's in. But I thought they really had fun with that in a way to further the angle, considering what Shane did to him last week, and I really enjoyed that part of the show. And I'm looking forward to Shane O'Mac versus KO. So I know we didn't get a chance to talk about that, but I had to give some props to KO for a great spot last night with pulling the ref's shirt off and becoming a ref.
Well, Kevin Owens always does great work. He is just a superstar. So, and plus it was Sami Zayn, not AJ versus Aiden English, but I get it.
Oh yeah,
not a big deal.
I got Aiden and AJ screwed me up.
Well, I tell you what, the fact that they've just indicated since SummerSlam, okay, let's get to it. Let's get them going. It's just been a build-up for the casual fan. Everybody kind of knows that. All right, Coder, thank you very much for joining us on the program, my friend, and we'll talk very soon.
All right, brother.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
It's the Code Break with Brent Cody.
Always good to talk to Coder. Always getting his perspective. You could follow Coder at CodeRock874 or go to his site, CodeRockStreetwear.com. Speaking of which, I want to thank everybody that I've been meeting on Twitter and online the last couple of days. It's just fun sometimes to interact with fans and get their opinions. Obviously, I don't agree with a lot of them. I agree with a lot of them as well. So it's a give and take. And of course, they respect my opinions. I respect your opinion. I don't have to agree with it. I do respect it. For the most part, this entire week has been a culmination of simply talking about Monday Night Raw and how Brock and Braun have now taken a back seat. Have taken a back seat to Roman and Cena. I think this is a conversation that will probably occur from now until No Mercy in 3 weeks. We're hoping that we can continue with SmackDown and we'll show some life next week. I think it needs a little help. I really do. That's why I posed that question on Twitter. Maybe they need a little jolt. Even just having Cena was a huge deal for them. Remember, he's a free agent. Who knows what happens after Hell in a Cell? Sorry, after No Mercy. I want to remind you guys, when this show goes off the air, you could still listen to the show. Now, what I do is I edit the show, cut out all the commercials, still make it work friendly. You can listen in podcast form in iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, YouTube, everywhere, pretty much everywhere you can listen to this. So there's no excuses. Follow the program, subscribe to the podcast. Help us out. Be a good brother. Yeah, that's going to be our slogan for the month. Be a good brother. Well, I'll tell you what, for everybody who participated online, everybody who listens to the show, I thank you guys. It means a lot. We do the show, we take it very seriously. Every show, even though we're live for 2 hours, is a culmination of about 7 or 8 every single day, not to mention the prep work throughout the week. There's a lot of people who help us out. Everybody at Broadcast Row, the network that provides this program. Everybody behind the scenes of the Wrestling Morning Show. Special thank you to Brent Cody. And more importantly, I want to thank all the fans out there. In this week, let's not forget about the people in Houston, the Texas area, Louisiana, affected by the hurricane. Keep them in your prayers, everybody. And if you're one of those people out there, this is a show where you could forget about some of the troubles that you have for a very small period of time. And we're with you. Houston strong. Once again, this is Mardel. I thank you very much for everybody in the world listening to the Wrestling Morning Show. Have a good and safe week. All right, be good, everybody.